What is going on, everybody? Back with another video. So today is going to be kind of a DIY video on how I made a leather folio case for my tablet. And I have in front of me the Microsoft Surface, and I picked this up a little while ago, and I of course wanted to protect this with a nice case. So I started looking online like Amazon and all those places, and I looked at the UAG cases, some of the more folio cases and everything. And I really like a lot of the stuff I see, but I was thinking to myself, how hard is it to actually make a leather case for my own tablet? So what I'm about to do is show you like a preliminary, more like a prototyping that I did for a case on this, and this is what I made out of it. It is all leather. It is hand stitched, as you can see there. Now remember, I have no machines that do this. This is literally all hand stitched. And it does fit my my Surface 3 really well. It's a little rough around the edges, but again, this is just a prototype, so this is not really more like a tutorial, more like just I guess a video just to watch me make this, really. And apparently, not apparently, but basically, what I show you in this video is it can be applied to pretty much any kind of tablet, really. Just the process and making it and everything like that. And of course, you can feel free to adjust it to your liking and whatnot. But anyways, and the other thing about this is that the Surface 3 has a 3-variable or 3-position kickstand. So we got 1, 2, and then 3. Whereas the Surface Pro has an infinite, kickstand positioning. So what I did is I kind of made this case to kind of do that as well. So as you see, this fits in there very well. It actually doesn't fall out. I'm shaking it, all right? But yet it comes out when you do need it, just like that. You can use it with or without the keyboard. And what I meant by the variable case is or the variable position is that I can now have it as straight up and down, and I can pretty much put it in any position I want, anywhere, just because of the way I designed the case to fold. And it could be like, as low as this. I still got to go back and make this bend a little bit more pliable, I guess. But in terms of the prototype, it works very well. And of course, I've designed this to work with the keyboard as well. So just like that. So basically, you'd have the case like this. You're ready to use it. You fold it up, and then you just kick it out like that, basically. And then you could just put it however you want to. And of course, the keyboard folds up very nice into it. I did make the cutouts for the power and volume keys. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't put any cutouts for the ports over here, because I really don't use them, to be honest with you. So this case is tailor-made for me. For you, if you are using either this device or any other device, you'll probably want to come back and cut out the appropriate cutouts for your ports and everything. I don't use a front-facing camera, so again, no cutout there. I do not use the rear-facing camera either. I have a camera and my cell phone with me all the time, so if I need to take a photo of something, it'll be with those two devices. Anyways, so let's go ahead and jump into the video, and I'll show you guys how I got this done. So first off, you probably want to saran wrap your tablet, because you're definitely going to be wet forming over the top of it, so you don't want to get your tablet wet. You see I have a long piece over there that's designed to go across the top, and I get this really, really long piece that's going to be used for the actual case itself, or the folio part of it itself. So here I have wetted the piece of leather in really hot water, and I'm just going to start measuring up approximately where the piece needs to go. So you got the ruler out right now. And then once I get the positioning down, I can start using my bone folder and just kind of gently, because you don't want to crack your screen, just start molding the piece of leather, forming a kind of a basic shape to how it's supposed to be using your fingers, as you see here, and kind of getting an idea where how it's supposed to be formed. And then once you get that down, you'll probably want to start nailing it into the piece of wood. As you can see, I have the piece of wood underneath all that. And that just serves to hold that piece of leather in a specific positioning, so it's easier to form. I'm using a straight edge right now to get a more straighter crease into the wet leather right now. And what wet forming does is when this dries completely, and you will need to give it about a day or two to dry completely, is that it becomes really, really hard and stiff, which means that it will hold its shape and thus hold your tablet safely within the folio case itself. So Alright, so here I'm cutting out a relief cut into the leather for the corner of the case. So when you put your tablet in, it will allow a bit of the corner to stick out. Now, don't worry, your actual cases can be a little bit larger, obviously, than the rest of the tablet, so your corners will not be damaged. I promise you that, unless you're doing something completely stupid with your with your folio case. Anyway, so here I am. You can see how the corner just kind of sticks out a little bit. And here it is with both corners cut out. This part of the video is about a day or two later, and it's completely dried. And I'm measuring it up to the back side of the case to see how much I need to actually cut out to form the secondary layer of the back. Ultimately, this is going to be two layers, two main layers, that is. So you'll have the actual case that folds over, and then you'll have this bit where I'm cutting out right now that just forms the secondary layer. Basically, it thickens the case up and allows for more protection. And now I'm trying it out with the keyboard just to make sure it fits. So essentially, this will add a little bit of weight, but you want a safe case. Here's some contact cement. I'm basically going to be gluing the secondary piece to the main part of the case here. The first thing I'm going to do is apply the glue, and actually I kind of went backwards with a step here. Really, I'm supposed to be seeing where it fits. This part right here, where I'm etching out the outline of the case, so I know where to apply the glue. So eagle-eyed viewers will notice I made a mistake right here where I applied the glue all the way to the bottom. I really didn't need to do that. I just needed to apply it to the first half of it, because obviously that little piece that goes on top only covers half of it. So that was my mistake. I didn't bother to change it. This is, as I said, was a prototype for the case, so it didn't really matter. I'm probably going to make another one. But what this does is you can, once you glue it on, it'll be held in place, and then it'll be ready for sewing or stitching. And then after that, I glued that piece to the actual case itself. Now, what this does is it doubles it up, and here I'm actually roughing it up so the glue will actually hold. Since that is the smooth side of the leather, this will allow the glue to kind of have something to bite into. I don't rough up the other side, because that is the rough side of the leather, so I should have plenty for the glue to bite into. So once I glue this on, it'll make the case 2 times as thick, and it'll be just really nice to use, because you'll have a thinner piece in the middle where is the spine. That way the case can bend and fold over easier. And later on I'll show you, I'll use a groover to cut grooves into the leather to allow the case to bend, like a relief cut to allow the case to bend easier. So here I am, I'm using I think it's called a thonging chisel, and it's just 3 prongs like a trident, and it just allows you to punch holes. Now I'm punching it all the way into, as close to the fold as possible, and it's just a very quick way of making holes so you can, do the stitching. And it'll be going all the way around the entire case, because you want to hold the layer that was on top of the second layer and the second layer to the third layer. So after I get that part done, I got an additional piece that I cut out. You see I roughed it all up again, and I went ahead and measured out where I needed to glue it. I'm going to apply the glue to both sides, and I'm just going to apply the case. Now, when you're measuring out this overall case, you want to measure out at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches larger than the entire tablet. Because eventually, after you get it all done and sewn in, you're going to want to cut the case down to size. So that's why you want to allow for extra space in terms of like a margin of error. So that's why the case is so huge. Essentially, I'm only going to be leaving about 1/4 inch around the entire side. Here you see I have the holes punched out all the way around with a thonging chisel. And you notice the case is rough and unfinished, but that's okay, because that's, again, you're going to be cutting the case down to size. Now that I got the basic shape for it, the next step is I am going to be using a groover here. This is the groover in my hand, and I'm just going to be putting a nice kind of relief groove into where the case is supposed to bend to allow the tablet to be kind of stood up in an infinite positioning. So there's the groove you can see there right in the middle. It basically just allows the case to bend a little bit easier, which I'll be doing at the end of the video here. I'm going to be cutting another couple grooves into the spine of it to allow that to bend a little easier. And you see a little bit of shaving. So this shaves off a little bit at a time. You can go over it repeatedly until you get the desired thickness. Don't do it too much though, because you are going to go right through the leather if you keep on doing it. Make sure you check the depth of your cuts. There you can see the grooves right there. Not too neat, but hey, whatever. Again, it's a prototype. I'm using a professional water stain by EcoFlow. I got this from Tandy Leather. It says the black. I decided to just go with the businessman look. So it's going to be all black. And I applied I think about 2 coats on it, because you can see it comes on very thin. So once it dries for a few minutes, go back in and apply with a second coat. I decided to make the portion that goes over the laptop, or over the tablet, also black. I'm not going to do the whole thing because the middle bit's going to be cut out, of course, to allow you full visibility of the entire screen. Now here, before I started to sew, I decided to just go ahead and cut out the actual cut off all the unnecessary pieces here. So now you can see the case is a lot more smaller, more manageable, and now we can begin sewing. Now sewing is going to be done in a very straightforward manner. You're going to measure out I think 4 to 7 times the length that you need all the way around the case. Just to be safe, you probably want to do like 3 times the amount all the way around the case. In case you're wondering why I'm not wearing a shirt, it's because it was like a 90-degree that day, so I apologize for that. Anyways, you're going to be putting needles or stitching needles on both sides of the thread. I'm using a waxed nylon braided thread here, and I'm pulling it tight. And essentially, you're going to be going in through one side. And once you pull the needle or the stitching needle through, it may be easier if you want to use a pair of pliers. You're going to take the other needle and put it back through the same exact hole. So basically, it's kind of like saddle stitching. And let's see, do I use the? I guess yeah. So I use the pliers to pull it through. It's much easier. Save your fingertips because that's going to be the big pain for your fingers there. And you just pull it as tight as possible, and you just basically repeat all the way around the case on both sides until you're finished. Now this is probably quite possibly the longest process. And you see my tablet in the background running. I'm just watching a review video by Kevin Cleary down back there. Here what I did is I took a sponge, I wetted the edges of the case. I'm taking the smooth handle of my of a tool, and I'm just rubbing it. So basically it serves to kind of clean it up and make it smooth. Then I apply a little bit of neat's foot oil just on the front of the case, and what that does is it softens it up and it makes it nice and smooth, and brings out a bit of luster to the case itself. And of course, just makes it nice and soft for use. Afterwards, I measure the bezel of the tablet, and this is then I'm going to go and measure the actual whatever the portion where I'm supposed to push the tablet in, and I'm just going to cut around until all it does is it just allows the screen to come through, but the bezel is going to be showing. What I realized after making this video is I should have actually not did this. I should have did this first and then sewn it in, just because I could have cut it the opposite way, which would have made for a much cleaner cut. As it is, I kind of botched it up a little bit, but what can I say? This is a DIY project after all, so I can only get better with each iteration. Here I'm just testing it out, and afterwards I measure out for where I need to cut the ports. And I'm for my purposes, I'm only cutting out the port for the power and the volume keys. Using a ruler, I go ahead and make the bend, and I bend it very slowly, and I wet the crease where I'm supposed to crease. I wet it just a little bit to give it a little bit more elasticity, and then I just go ahead and bend it with a ruler and kind of work it down until I get a nice, pliable bend there. You can see I'm trying to squash it down right now. You see that relief cut coming into play there. It's very easy to do, and here it is. I got it set up. I'm just trying it for the very first time, making sure the openings for the ports and everything are accessible. And I'm just going straight to YouTube and Blade HQ. You guys know me, I'm a knife guy, so and then trying it all out to make sure that all parts of the bezel, the corners and everything are accessible and not covered up by the piece of leather that's holding it to the case itself. And then you just fold it closed and you're good to go there. Also trying it out without the keyboard, just in case I want to use it in full tablet mode. And it does hold it rather well. And then you can just flip the cover all the way around the back. You can turn it on, and then bam, got yourself a nice handheld case. that's good for just using it as a tablet without the keyboard. So all in all, this is a very, very nice and relaxing DIY hobby I did. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. And if you got any questions or comments, leave it below. Or you can send me a personal message. Aside from that, everybody have a great day. Take care. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.